Hi everyone, in this video we're going to set up an ADO.NET data source to connect to a database using C#. So before we go into the Visual Studio, we're looking at the database here. Just a simple single table database dealing with cakes. We have the cake name, the price, and also the picture name. We'll incorporate pictures later into our application. So I'm going to go into the Visual Studio, and you know what, before I connect, I am going to close my database. Okay. Alright, so I don't see the data sources tab over here, the data sources pane. If you ever lose any pane for that matter, you can just go to the view menu. Now the data sources pane is kind of hidden in here, so you can go to other windows and there's your data sources option. Okay, so I'm going to set up a data source to connect to that database, the cake table specifically. So I'm going to click on here. It's pretty easy. You can set it up with the wizard. I'm going to click next. We want the database option for most of the time. Later in the semester we're going to go to a different option, but for now always database here and the data set, and I'm going to set up a new connection here. Okay, so I'll browse for my database. Now, if you don't, we are going to use the Access database for the most part, but if you ever wanted a different option, SQL Server, Oracle, or something, you can set that up. Okay, but we're going to go with Access, and I'm going to find that database. There it is, the Cakes database, which is on my desktop. I'll test the connection. Everything's fine, and I'm clicking OK. Now when I click Next, I'm going to be confronted with this message box. Basically it's asking me if I want to take a copy of that database from the desktop and put it into my project folder, my solution folder, which I do. I absolutely do, and we pretty much always will in this class, just because we keep everything contained, all the pictures, all the various files and stuff into in that single solution folder, and the database is no exception. I just want it all in that one folder. So I'm going to say yes here, and I'm clicking next. Okay, so now all I have to do, there's really just one table, so I'm going to check that. But if you have a large database with multiple tables, you can pick and choose what you want. You don't have to take everything, but we will take everything in this case. Okay, so now we have our data source set up, and I think what I'll do is just get some bound controls onto the form, and then maybe in the next video we'll play around with it a little more and customize. But basically I'm going to expand this, and I think you have some options here. You can do the data grid, which I don't think I'll use for this one. I'm going to go into Details View instead, and then all I have to do is drop those onto the form. These are my bound controls. Okay, and of course you don't, like for example the cake ID, that might not be meaningful to the user, so I can just delete that. Okay, even the picture name as well, the user might not need to see that necessarily, so I can delete that. Okay, so basically we're all set up here. I'll just go ahead and run it real quick. Okay. So we can move through the cakes. This is the binding navigator. I think maybe in the next video I'll delete this and replace it with a search bar. Then I can hand code my own navigation buttons. But we're moving through the data set easily, and we see the cakes, and also in a later video we'll show the picture of the cake.